Alright, so how do we handle this first problem, folks? I invest $3,500 into an account that's paying 6.5% compounded daily. How much am I going to have in 5 years?
49. I'm just kidding. I don't. I was just.
How do we figure it out, folks? What do we do? What page am I going to go to?
Like the actual page or like
The actual page.
6.5.
Page 36. Why page 36, Grace? Because that is the compound daily table. For compound daily, you will always go to page 36. Okay? And then you just use that one single table, nothing fancy, just look up the percent, look up the years, find the table value. So what's the table value under 6.5% over at 5 years? 1.3840. What do I do with that number? Multiply by the 3,500. How much am I going to have? And that's the final answer, right? Because I asked for how much is going to be in there. This is the future value. That's what it represents. How much will I have? Okay? So again, if I ask you to compound daily, just go to the compound daily tab. Again, if you're wise, you put a little sticky note in your tables that says, hey, compound daily. This person, whoever he might be, is wise.
oh look at you.
Is that better, Greg?
He doesn't like being the center of attention.
He has no problems being the center of attention. He's old like me. We don't care. At this stage, we're like, yeah, what of it? All right, so how about the next one? Folks, I need a new car in 3.5 years. I hope that I can spend $24,000 on this car. The question is, how much do I need to invest today if I have an account that pays 6% compounded quarterly so that in 3.5 years I will have that $24,000? So what kind of a problem is this, folks?
The table 12-3.
Awesome! Why is it 12-3?
Because that's how you go back.
That's how you go back to the present, right? Exactly. So this is us looking 3.5 years in the future saying, hey, how much do we need back there? And we walk back there and say, oh, I don't know. Use table 12-3. Oh. So, what page am I going to go to?
Oh.
Now, we're going to use 6%. It's quarterly, so we divide by 4. 6 divided by 4. 1.5. How many periods am I going to earn interest in this investment? Why 14? 3.5 years. 4 periods per year. 14 periods. What's my table value?
0.8119.
Multiply by the 24,000. $485.60. So if I have just a shade below $19,500, if I throw it into this account right now, 3.5 years later, it'll be the 24 grand that I need in order to buy my $24,000 car, and hopefully it won't have gone up so much in price that I'll still actually be able to afford it, right? How have the price of cars been relatively stable, or have they been starting to go up now?
How's the model?
Yeah.
The truck I want's like $74,000.
That's not a truck, that's a house. All right, now note, folks, in this particular problem, I could also ask you, how much interest will I earn over this investment? How would you figure that out?
24,000 minus the 19,480.
All right, good. So note that even though you're going backwards, I can still ask for interest, and it's the same thing. You take the present value minus the future value, or the future value minus the present value. I gave you the 24,000 minus 19,485.60. It just takes a little bit more work to find the interest when you have to go backwards, right? When you're going forwards, it's usually easy, right? To start with 5,000 and then subtracting 5,000 is simple, right? Here you have to subtract from the 24,000. It takes a little bit more work. So, what is that? 4, 5, 1, 4, 40. So note that it can be asked interest-wise in this sort of a problem. In any of these problems in chapter 10, 12, and 13, I may be asking for what's the present value, what's the future value. I can also always ask what's the interest, okay? That's always a valid question, all right?
Is that a dollar sign or a one?
It's a dollar sign.
Okay.
It's just a sloppy dollar sign. Sorry. All right, not bad? Yeah. So, again, reading fundamentals, right? Know the difference between walking forwards and walking back, all right? So, let's suppose I invested $125,000 into a company that's going to pay me 10% compounded annually interest. How much interest am I going to earn over 10 years? So, how are we going to do this problem? First off, is this walking forwards or backwards? Forwards, right? What page are we going to go to? 10%, right? But don't I have to divide that by something? 1, right? Technically, we're compounding this once a year. Nice thing about it is when you divide by 1,
It's still
yeah, we didn't change anything, all right? You don't have to write this down if you don't want to, but I always like to write it down just so that you guys remember. We're always doing this division and multiplication crap all the time, okay? So now, how many periods are there going to be? And again, same sort of concept, right? It's 10 years, and we're compounding once a year, so it's 10 periods. Same idea, right? So, what's our table entry this time? 2.5937 multiplied by the eighth of $1 million that we're putting in there. Run that by me again.
324,212.
212.50.
That's a pretty penny.
That wouldn't suck, eh? Again, though, what do I have to do next, though? Yeah, because this is the future value. What did I ask for? Interest. So remember, be careful and make sure you answer the question at the end, right? So subtract the 125 I started with. How much interest did I wind up making?
199,212.
Almost $200,000 worth of interest, just a shade below. All right? This is the sort of investing that we would all like to be able to do, right?
It would be nice.
Wouldn't it? Earn $200,000 of interest over 10 years. This is the kind of investment, folks, that businesses do in general with their excess money. When businesses invest, if they're not investing in their own business and they're investing money in a separate business, this is the kind of rate of return that they expect on their money. Literally. And this is why businesses are very rarely out of money, because they've got these kind of investments hidden in the background, which are earning interest for them. It's all delayed interest, so they don't have to pay tax on any of it until they get the payment. And the business can wait to collect all of the payment on this interest in a year when they actually lost money, so that they don't ever wind up paying any taxes on the interest that they earn on this money. Right? So businesses are, I'm assuming that these are the sorts of things you guys will learn in your business classes when you get a chance to. They'll show you how to basically defer paying taxes on money until you get to the point in your career or your business cycle where the money that you declare as taxable is going to be not taxable anyways because you're incurring a loss. Right? Businesses, they're much more able to do that than you and I are on our own taxes. I mean, it's kind of tough for individuals to hide money. But businesses, there are so many loopholes for businesses in our tax code, it's crazy. You guys ever looked at the tax codes book? How many pages it has?
Probably a shit ton.
Yeah, 3,500 pages of tax code law.
They could just make a book 1 and 2 and make 1,500 too.
If you actually get a book, I mean, it literally is. It's like a dictionary-sized book.
That's
And
a waste of paper.
yeah.
That's killing trees.
Well, they don't print it very often anymore.
Probably better now.
Regardless, though, this is the sort of investing that someday we'll all do, right?
I would hope.
Yeah. Me too. All right, so, APY. Earns 4% compounded quarterly. How do we do APY again, folks?
It's a long way and a short way.
Let's do it the short way. I don't like the long way. What page are we going to, Grace? 1%, right? Do everything the normal way. It's 4%, and since it's compounded quarterly, divide by 4. How many periods are we going to look at?
4.
What does the A stand for?
Annual.
Annual. What does that mean? 1 year. 1 year, 4 periods. So we're only going to find 4 periods. All right? So what's the table value?
1.00. Oh, I remember one page.
Well, 0.6.
Yeah.
And so what's my APY?
4.06.
Yeah. Just grab the decimal. That's what your APY percentage is. Note that that's the decimal representation of it. Please do convert it to a percent because all interest rates are written as percentages, so tell me it's 4.06% APY. That's what it is. Yeah, and you, again, like I said, you don't have to do it the long way. You are more than welcome to just do it the short way. In fact, there's no way you could do this one the long way because it didn't give you any money, right? Normally you have to have a dollar amount to be able to test this sort of a concept, but I was just like, no, don't do it that way. Use the shortcut, all right?
Didn't you say yesterday that like table 13.1 or whatever is the APY? Like stuff like more in the table, it just gives you the
Yeah, this is table 12.1. This is the number off the table. APY. So yes, it does. Yes. I mean, you have to do a little bit of work. You still have to do some work to know where to find it, but once you get to the right spot on the table, pulling the APY should just be as simple as pulling a decimal. Alright. Good? We're good with APY? Alright. So, this is a great problem. This is actually a problem that my wife and I do every year. When we get to the end of every fiscal year and we're doing our taxes, we're saying, have we gotten to the point where we're going to have enough money when we retire and we can stop investing? Right? So the whole point about compound interest is that you are always constantly earning compound interest, right? So you keep making money on your money on your money, right? And so at some point in time, in theory, you will reach your retirement goal for money levels, right? So I believe that if I have $650,000 when I'm 60 years old, that's good enough for me to retire for however much longer I live, right?
But you're gonna be at home all the time, you're gonna be bored, and you're just gonna wanna spend money.
Well, no, see, I will keep working. I just won't work full time anymore.
Why?
Yeah, why?
A lot of people.
Because I like standing up here and telling you guys stories, but I don't like doing it for 12 hours a day, right? I would love to come in and teach like 3 classes a semester instead of
But if
7.
you've got all this bank saved away, why
would you go back to
wouldn't you
work?
just go like
Because I'd be bored.
move somewhere like Brazil and hang out
Because I
and
don't know the
enjoy the end of
language.
your life?
I wouldn't be able to teach in Portuguese, so you know.
You have money.
But you gotta pay for insurance, folks. I mean, you do realize the reason that you need to have this money is that insurance, once you get older than
You have to pay for it on your own.
yeah, and it's
It's
you know.
super expensive.
It's super expensive, and Medicare, folks, technically it only covers about 60 to 70% of everything you actually have to pay. So you need to have supplemental. That's why you buy supplemental insurance, but that's not cheap, right? I mean, it's just not. That's the problem, right?
My parents didn't even go with insurance. They just pay out of pocket for it. It's so ridiculous.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're healthy, it's great, right?
Yeah.
It's when you get sick that you
How old
discover,
are your
oh crap. Yeah, see, my parents are in their 80s, so.
parents? My mom's 41.
She's young.
Yeah, we're 20 years apart.
They're all young. Holy crap. All of you. Ugh. All right, so how are we going to do this problem, folks?
You'd be going backwards.
Yeah, we're going backwards.
Starts off on
12-3. What page am I going to go to? 6%. Divided by 2. Whatever page number 3%'s on. What row am I going to? How many periods are there? Why 28, Greg?
Because 14 years, you multiply it by 2,
Where'd you get 14? I don't see 14 up here anywhere.
60 minus 46 is 14.
60 minus 46, because from 46 to 60, I'll be earning 14 years worth of interest. Twice a year, 28 periods.
I was going to say it's just magic.
It's mathic. That would be okay.
Have a clue to it.
All right, so what's my table entry? What was that? 0.4371. Multiply by the 650,000. How much do I need at age 46? What was that? Sorry. Give it to me again, Haley.
Oh, so that was $284,115.
115 or 150?
115.
And so these are the sorts of things that you can do when you actually start getting to that stage of your life where you start investing, right? So what my wife and I are doing is we said, okay, how much money do we think we need when we retire? Of course, again, all of this, what age and how much do you need is we'll learn in the next chapter how to calculate all that sort of stuff. But the concept is that if at age 46 I looked at my retirement account and I already had $284,000, how much more money do I need to put in there so that it'll be at $650,000 when I reach 60? Nothing, right? So how much do I need to save from age 46 to age 60? Nothing. I can take all that money that I was throwing into my retirement account and I can just blow it on whatever the hell I want, right?
No. Still invested.
But I'm more free at being able to blow it on whatever I want.
Yes.
True. And that's sort of the thing that my wife and I have been discussing over the last 2 or 3 years is when can we stop investing the maximum amount every year? Because at some point in time, we're going to have enough, right? Because we don't have any kids, we don't have a really super fancy house, we don't buy $74,000 cars, right? I mean, and our trips are to Brazil where we stay with our friends in their apartment.
We really don't
A really small one too. I know it's
So, we don't necessarily need a lot of money. So, if we can get to that stage where we think we're going to have enough when we're done, we just start slowing down, and from age 50 to age 55, instead of not taking the nice fancy trips, we can say, oh, well, when we go to Vegas, instead of staying at Circus, well, we'll just waltz on down to Caesars and say, yeah, we'll stay here. That's okay, right? That's the idea, right? But this is the goal, right? At some point in time, as you're watching your money grow, you'll start to see, wait a second, I've got so much money, maybe I don't need any more. Wouldn't that be a nice feeling to have? By the way, it never happens. Even if you think you know how much you need, when you look at it, the next year you'll say, well, maybe we really should have a little bit more.
It's never going to be enough.
Yeah, it never is. Yeah. So.
Until you die.
Yeah. And the problem is I have no kids, right? So I have nobody to leave my money to.
So you need to spend it all because you can't take it with you.
Exactly. See? So, and you don't want to spend it when you're 80. You want to spend it when you're 50, right? When you're 50, you can still move. When you're 80, you're... So you do some of this analysis to start figuring out, well, maybe at some point in time I can start having a little bit more fun than I thought I could before. All right? Now, obviously, folks, this is a relatively simple example because this is only looking to see, can I stop saving more? The idea is maybe you could just start saving less, right? Instead of saving the maximum amount, whatever the number is, maybe you just cut that in half.
And then you have fun money.
And then you have more fun money. Exactly. So, again, we'll get to that in Chapter 13. That's what Chapter 13 is all about. This question will become much more complicated and much more awesome. And it will also lead to the extra credit project, which you guys are, if you look on Blackboard, this is the extra credit project, or getting to it. Basically, you guys planning your retirement. That's what I want as an extra credit project, is to you guys to try and come up with a plan for yourself. How am I going to retire? And by Chapter 13, you should be able to do that. Or at least have a first guess at it. All right? So, this is to lead you into it. Now, how about the next one? I invest $15,500 for 4.5 years in an account that pays 6% interest. How much interest do I earn? What? I do.
No, you don't.
Why not?
Because you didn't give us,
I didn't give you...
like, how, like, annually or...
What's the word that comes before that? Compounded. If it's not compounded, folks, what is it?
Just a regular activity.
Yes. Don't forget Chapter 10.
I did.
If the interest is not compound, what is it? Simple. So this is just good old I equals PRT. Please do not forget I equals PRT. If you do not see the word compounded in the question, that means it's simple interest. Okay? So, what was the principal? 15.5. What was the rate? 0.06. And what was the time? 4.5. I gave it to you in years because I'm a nice guy. So it's just a straight multiply the numbers problem. So how much interest do I earn? $4,185.
185. Yes.
41.85 because the interest is simple. Again, do not be tricked by me not saying the word compounded. All right? And just to review, because it makes me nervous. Forgot to change the numbers though. I borrowed $13,724. Don't ask me where that number came from, folks. I was just typing numbers when I created this 2 or 3 years ago. And I borrowed it from September 12th until February 8th. They're a really good payday loan shop, so they only charge me 42.5% interest. How much do I got to pay back on the 8th? So, how do we do this?
Simple. Or ordinary interest. Whatever.
Simple, ordinary interest. Principal is this lovely number of 13,724. Sorry about that number. Oh, yeah, a little bit. 10,000 would have been nicer. Alright. My rate, 42.5%. What is that as a decimal?
0.425.
And folks, this is a problem that I saw on the homework a little bit too often. That's why I have this question here. How do I figure out how much time there is between September 12th, 2010 until February 8th, 2011? This is spanning 2 years. How do I do those?
Well, September 12th is the 255th day.
255?
Yeah. So you would subtract that from 365 to find out from September 12th to the beginning of the next year.
Alright, so essentially, folks, you break down the number of days in your investment or loan into the 2 years that it spans. Or 3 years if it spans 3 years, like that question on homework did. So, note, it's 365 minus 255. Even though it's ordinary interest, folks, when you go to calculate the number of days, use 365, not 360. The only time you use 360 is in the fraction. That's it. Okay? So 110 days in 2010. What was February 8th? 39? 39 days. And note that that's exactly the number that comes off the Julian calendar for February 8th. And so how many days total? 149 days. And now, folks, you use the fact that it's ordinary. To convert it into years, you put 360 in the denominator. Alright? And then it becomes another multiplication problem, right? So I is 13,724 times 0.425 times that awesome fraction, 149 over 360. What'd you guys get?
2414.
What was that?
2,414.09.
24.14 and 9 cents. Is that what everybody else got? Okie dokie.
Sure.
And, it's-
I didn't do it.
and what did I ask for?
The total.
How much did I have to pay back? What is this number that you have? Interest. So what do I have to do to get the payback amount? Add the principal. 13,724.
It's right above you.
It's up there somewhere.
It's right in front of you. You were looking at it.
So whatever that worked out to be.
16,138.09.
16,138.09. Paying way more interest than you should for any sort of borrowing. So again, just be careful. Remember how to calculate the number of days between two dates, right? And you will get the Julian calendar for the test. You get to bring the entire packet with you. I will have packets available on test day just in case. Alright. Last but not least, I borrowed $82.61 from March 3rd, 2012 to August 15th, 2012 at 9.5%. What was my interest? It's PRT again. P is the 8261. R is 9.5%. Just convert to a decimal correctly. Please don't forget the 0. How much time this time?
5 years.
Why?
Because the Julian calendar said so.
What is August 15th?
227.
Oh, that's 27.
And March 3rd? 63? 2. And since the two dates are in the same year, you can just subtract. Okay? So this is the difference between those two methods for calculating the number of days, right? So this time you can just take 227 minus 62 is 165 days. How many years is that?
165.
Yeah. And since it doesn't say ordinary, folks, by default it's exact, right? The only time you use 360 is if you see that word ordinary. So since it's not there, 365, turn the crank. 8261 times 0.095 times 165 365ths. How much interest do we wind up paying? $354.77. Alright, and since I did ask for interest, you be done. Not bad? Chapter 12? Alright, so how about questions on the homework? Number 30? Okay, cool. Alright, so what did number 30 say?
Treasure Mountain International School in Park City, Utah. Public middle school interested in raising money for next year's Sundance Film Festival. The school raises $2,989.
$2,989.
Invested for 1 year at 3% interest.
Invest 1 year at 3%,
Compounded annually.
compounded annually.
What is the APY earned?
Find APY.
Yes.
Okay. So we're finding APY. We don't need the dollar amount. Doesn't make a difference, right? What page are we going to go to, guys?
3%.
3%. Why 3%?
It's 1 annually.
It's 3%. Divided by 1, it's 3%, right? Because we're compounding annually, right? What row are we going to go to? Or how many periods are there?
1.
1, right? Because there's 1 year, there's 1 period per year, so there's 1 period. It's a little weird, but just bear with the question. So what's the table entry?
1.0300.
And so what is that written as a percent? Just pull the decimal off.
That's what I had, but I felt like it was too easy, so I felt like I did it wrong.
Nope, this was meant to be too easy.
Okay. When it's easy, I feel like I'm being tricked.
I feel you.
I don't like that.
Sorry. I love this as a stupid, sort of simple question. Because if it's only compounding annually, then you're never compounding it more than once in a year, so the APY should be exactly the same as the actual interest rate, because they're both compounding per year, so it's going to be 3%. Yeah, it's a little weird, but
Bless you.
any others? None others. You guys are good with the rest of chapter 10 and 12.
Let's do two that you think are gonna be hard.
I don't remember which ones are the hard ones. You guys are the ones who are working on it.
Do 24.
24? Okay.
Sure.
There we go.
See?
What was number 24?
Check your answer to the nearest dollar in problem 1223 by using the compound value table 12.1. The answer will be slightly off due to rounding.
So here's one of my favorite types of questions, because what are you forced to do?
Yeah.
The odd one in front of it! Yes! Those are always my favorite ones, because then you get to do an extra bonus problem for free!
I mean, technically, isn't it just in the back of the book?
Shh, no, you wouldn't do that. You'd actually do that one, right? Yes!
Said nobody ever.
Right, well, what does number 23 ask?
Tony Ring wants to attend Northeast College.
Uh-huh.
He will need $60,000 4 years from today.
$60,000 in 4 years. Okay.
Assume Tony's bank pays 12% interest, compounded semi-annually.
12% compounded semi-annually.
What must Tony deposit today so he will have $60,000 in 4 years?
How much does he deposit? That's an SIT, I swear. Now. So what's this question asking us to do?
Go back.
Go backwards, right? So we're going to use the second column, 12-3. What page are we going to go to?
6%.
12%, cut in half, 6%. How many periods? 4 years, 2 periods per year, 8 periods. What's my table value?
0.6274.
Multiply by the $60,000 that he's going to need. How much does he have to invest? $37,644. So if whoever this was again invests $37,644 right now, they will have $60,000 in 4 years. So how do we check that answer?
Multiply it by period 8 by table 12.1.
Yeah, so you just say, hey, stay on the exact same page and the exact same row, just use table 1 instead of table 3. So we're going to stay on the 3% page. We're going to stay with 8 periods. So what's 37,644? What's my table value?
1.5938.
1.5938. And that had better get us somewhere relatively close to $60,000, right?
59,997.
Straight up?
Yep.
So he's going to have to beg for that last $3.
1 penny. I'm sorry, 1 penny. My fault. One
What?
penny
Oh, and a cent?
and a cent. Sorry.
So only $2.99 that he has to beg for. Very much easier than the $3.
Yeah.
So yeah, and note this is the checking technique, folks. Right? Whichever row you're using, make sure that that same page and row gets you backwards. Ultimately 3%, right? 6% divided by 2, or yeah, 6%. You're right. I was dividing 6 by 2 again. 6%. Thank you. All right. So, not bad. Again, that's the whole check, and we'll be doing that again in chapter 13. So you'll do this again. So it's good to get it down now so that you can do it later.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's not really bad.
Yeah, I know.
I like that, I keep that by you, like.
Sorry, guys.
You're not.
Anyways,
I think you should just
sit
put
there
it in
and
front of the
smell
fan
it.
and turn the fan on.
I think you should just let us all go early.
No, I wouldn't want to waste your money.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
whatever.
I don't think any of us would complain about
We're
it.
becoming delirious, intoxicated by that.
The
You know,
joy of the
we
money
can't
smell.
concentrate.
Is there any other questions from chapter 12, folks?
Each one of
28? Alright, which one is
He
28?
says sure. He doesn't. He probably doesn't even need it. He's just like whatever. He's
these.
so.
So,
The reason I picked 24 because it was long, I just didn't feel like doing it.
so 28, person wants to obtain, blah, he is 65 years old.
Okay,
Person is now 50.
okay.
He believes he will need 300,000.
Need 300,000 at age 65.
Assuming 6% compound interest.
Compounded
Semi-annually.
semi-annually? Okay. How much do you need to invest now?
Yeah, how much do
How much invest now? Alright, so which type of problem is this, folks? Backwards, right? Because we need $300,000 at 65, or we're going to need something. This is one of those classic words, folks, that tells you you're doing a backwards problem, okay? Need and having a goal. Those are classic words to say, do the backwards version of the problem, okay? So, table 12-3, what page are we going to go to?
3%.
3%. What row are we going to go to?
30.
Why 30?
Because it's 15 years between 65 and 50 years old.
15 years between 65 and 30 times 2, 30 periods. What's the table value?
0.4120.
0.4120. Multiply by the 300K that this poor fool needs.
123,600 even.
So if he has $123,600 right now at age 50, if he invested into a 6% compounded semi-annually account, he'll have his $300,000 at age 65. Start collecting his Medicare, start collecting his Social Security, and then potentially pulling a small amount out of his $300,000 annuity each month when he retires. Alright, chapter 12, folks. If you are happy with your chapter 12 homework, I would love to have it. If you need more time, that is fine. Just get it to me by Tuesday next week. It is getting bad, man.
I told you, we become delirious. We can't even understand what you're saying.
Once I start babbling mindlessly, then you guys can, you can just leave.
Did you?
I heard
Oh,
the
you've
word-
been since the word you came in here. Come on.
All right, so chapter 13 is about annuities. Folks, what is an annuity? Not really, but it can. Depends on a little bit on what you're doing. But think about annuity in terms of compound interest. How is it related to it? And how is it different? First off, what are annuities? What are some standard annuities that you know are out there? What's an annuity for? Nobody has a clue what an annuity is.
Isn't it a way to save money?
Annuity is a fixed sum of money paid to someone each year, typically for the rest of their life.
All right, so that's one variation of an annuity. That's called a pension, right? A pension is an annuity where you are guaranteed a certain amount of payment every month or every 2 weeks for the rest of your life. That's what I am trying to get, right? That's why I'm still working here. 401k is another example of an annuity. An annuity where you're investing a certain amount of money every period while you're working, and then when you retire, then you actually reverse the process and the annuity switches and becomes a payout annuity where, depending on when you die, they will say, oh, we will pay you a certain amount of money every month until your expiration date. And again, you kind of have to decide what your expiration date is. That's why 401ks are a little bit fuzzy and pensions are really nice, right? A 401k, you could say, well, I'm going to live till I'm 90. And so what your financial advisor or what you yourself will do is to say, okay, how much should I pay myself every month so that when I hit 90, I pull out my last paycheck from my 401k and now it's empty. And then in theory, you die, right? The problem is that what happens if you live until you're 99? Well, your 401k is empty, folks. What do you do?
You die
I mean, you
anyways
still
because
die.
obviously you don't have money for food.
Right, well, that's exactly why we have a social welfare system in this country, so that if that happens to you, you will continue to collect your Social Security every month, and hopefully that will be enough so that you can at least eat cat food until you die.
I didn't if they die that
Again, though, but that's the sort of game you have to play, right? If you do not have a pension, which is a defined payment annuity, right? I mean, the whole point of a pension is that you're guaranteed a certain amount every month until you croak. And it doesn't matter if you live until you're 150. You're getting paid every month, right?
What, like $30?
Well, I mean, they're going to base the pension on you dying at the standard age that a person of your race, ethnicity, and sex does, right? So they'll figure out that on average you die at 78.2. And so they'll say, oh, we're going to pay you out assuming you're going to die at 78.2, but if you don't, we'll just keep paying you more. And if you do, then we'll just be done paying you and it's okay. I mean, that's how pensions work, right? This is why pensions are awesome, folks. This is why you want them. It's also why businesses don't want to create them anymore, right? Because if somebody lives until they're 120, what does the business have to keep doing? Forever. Pay, constantly, right? So this is why businesses are switching away from pensions and towards 401ks, because now the burden on you saving your money is all on you. It's not on them in any way, shape, or form. When you retire from a company that doesn't have a pension, they don't care what you do. They're like, sweet, so long. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, right? It's cost savings, right? So everybody who says pensions, those are terrible, they're awful, it's like, well, yeah, for the business. They're kick-ass for people because it's actual guaranteed income, right? And in theory, if you spent 45 years of your life, blood, sweat, and tears to your company, and then they say, oh, no, now that you're 68, we don't have to pay you anymore. Sweet. And then they just walk away from you like you're yesterday's news. Yes, apparently that's what we want, because over the last 10 years, this country has constantly been saying pensions suck. They're entitlements, right? They're like Social Security. Who the hell deserves that crap? Nobody. Welcome to the USA, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, die. But don't do it while I can see, because then it's bad, right? Whatever. Anyway, so annuities, yes. There are two flavors of annuities, folks, right? So let's... You guys make me nervous. So, examples, right? So, pay-in annuities. This is where you're investing your own money. Examples of those are 401ks. If you work for the government, 403bs, Or if you do this investment on your own, they're IRAs, individual retirement accounts, right? And you may have also heard this version called a Roth, right? What's the difference between all of those?
Pre-tax and after tax.
Yeah, these three up here, folks. Every dollar that you put in one of these first three investments, 401k, 403b, or an IRA, you pay zero income tax on. You basically get the money tax-free. You actually get everything that you earned, right? And this is exactly why every year I max out as much as I can put into these accounts, because the tax burden that I pay on that money is now zero. Note, when you pull money out of these accounts, that's when you pay income tax. And the idea is that when you're retired, are you working? No. So do you have any income that you are earning? No. So the only income you get is the money that comes out of these retirement accounts, and therefore you will pay the tax rate on that money at the lowest possible tax rate that you could pay. Whereas if you didn't invest this money and paid the tax on it while you were getting paid, you would be paying the highest possible tax rate that you could pay, and you'd be paying more. And that's why we do it. Right? This is why we invest in 401ks and retirement accounts, so that our tax burden right now is less. Okay? A Roth, folks, these can be any. A Roth is a variation of these. This is taxed initially, but no tax when taken out. So a Roth is where you invest the money, but you pay the tax on it initially, and then all of the interest that you earn on that account, all of it, totally tax-free forever. So if you can start when you're 22 or 23 putting money into a Roth IRA, folks, you're not going to retire until you're 60 or so. That's 40 years of compound interest, tax-free. If you're young right now and you're going to start investing, advice from the wise, open a Roth IRA first. Once you have filled up your Roth IRA, then start playing around with these other things where you're lowering your tax burden. Because this stuff, folks, when you're putting money in it right now, the money that comes out, since it's going to compound interest, it compounds quarterly for every year, folks. That's how most investment accounts work. That's a long time of compound interest, right? Even if all you're doing is putting in $20, a month or something like that. I mean, you'd be surprised how fast $20 a month grows over 40 years, right? So, anyways, now there are other types of lotteries, right? These are the other types of annuities. Lottery winnings, where the lottery now decides they're going to pay you $500,000 a year for the next 20 years of your life. That's an annuity. They're going to create an account. It's going to be sitting in a bank. It's going to be earning interest. And every year, at the end of the year, the lottery commission says, here's your $500,000 check out of however much money is in that pot. At the end of next year, they do it again. At the end of next year, they do it again. And the idea is, on the 20th year, if it's a 20-year payout, they'll give you that $500,000 check, and that bank account will then be empty. That's how lotteries work, folks. Right? It's an actual annuity. They take a whole lump sum of money, put it in a bank account, let it earn interest while you are slowly depleting it at whatever the payout rate is per year. Okay? Lotteries work that way. Structured settlements. So if you're in a car crash and you're suing the other person and you win a certain amount of money, the payouts for those are never all lump sum money. They're always paid out as annuities. And if you want all the money up front, you always have to take a lesser payout than what the actual full payout's going to be, because the payout's going to be in an annuity where it's sitting in an account and you're guaranteed a certain amount of money per month for a certain number of years. That's the way all of those things are built nowadays, folks. All right? And one of the coolest things that I heard in the last 4 or 5 years was what Arizona did. What Arizona did by law, they stated that if any couple gets divorced and goes to divorce court to split up the assets, if there are any children, the assets, after they're split up, the money on top that's needed for child support is actually put into an annuity run by the court system where whoever is taking care of the children automatically gets the money every month.
Good.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, holy crap. And it doesn't matter who gets the kids. So if it's like grandparents, that's who gets the money. Doesn't matter. After the assets are split up, they take however much they need so that they can guarantee child support for the kid until they're 18. Boom. I was like, wow. And in Arizona, that's the #1 state for having people caught who work for the government, right, who are state senators and are caught on tape at a titty bar with their face where it doesn't belong. During work hours. Literally half of every state senator who's a male, sorry about that, men, we suck, in Arizona, while I was living in Arizona, had been videotaped live in Vegas during regular business hours for the government. And I'm like, really? Really? And they get elected every year.
Well, yeah, guys like other guys that go to titty bars.
No, we don't.
Lies!
We don't.
No, we're jealous and we vote them out.
Everyone want to get close to them so you can go with them.
I want to get what they have. All right, so anyways, these are types of examples. Now, the examples that we're going to work with first, folks, are standard investment annuities. Yes, I know. You'll survive.
Barely.
I might die on the way home.
Yeah, right on the
Well, close your windows as you drive home. Turn the air conditioning on. All right.
That has nothing to do with falling asleep, Marsha.
The snow is gonna go through.
Yeah, don't think about it.
I just hope there's no snow in my house.
Sometimes I'm happy to live in that.
I'm like 8 minutes away.
Ooh.
I got feeling.
Look at Madison.
Yeah.
I'm the same way with you.
Yeah, I'm really
Fucking
green.
track.
Yeah, it's not all that fun, but it's okay. All right, so the idea, folks, is that these annuities. Now, the difference between an annuity and a standard compound interest investment is that you are investing instead of once, you are investing every period. Okay, so you're putting not just the money in one time, but you're putting it in every time. Okay. So the big key to this is you invest the same amount every period. Otherwise, it's essentially the same as Chapter 12. Chapter 12, you put the money in once. Chapter 13, you put the money in multiple times. Okay?
But can you invest different amounts?
You can, of course, but then you have to use different calculations to do all that. Okay. So the two types of annuities when you're investing, the first type is the ordinary annuity, and when you do this type of an annuity, folks, you invest at the end of each period. And it's called ordinary because ordinarily, in order for us to be able to invest any money into an annuity, we actually have to work and then get paid. And then when we get paid, we take some of our money that we got paid and put it into our annuity. Okay? That's the way most of us work. All right? Now, there's a different variety of life out there that maybe some of you know. And what they create are what are called annuities due. And if in an ordinary annuity you invest at the end, guess what you do with an annuity due?
Invest at the beginning.
Hey, what do you know? So the people who use annuity due annuities are people who are pension fund children, because when you're on a pension fund or you're on some sort of a if you're on your daddy's dime, they'll set up an annuity that basically pays you $50,000 at the beginning of every month, right? And the idea is that this trust fund that's paying you $50,000, you want to hide some of the money so you don't have to pay tax on it. And so you'll say, oh, take a certain percentage of the money that I get from my trust fund and hide it in my own personal private 401k or IRA so I don't have to pay tax on it, and I can keep collecting it at less and less tax rate throughout my entire life. This is how trust fund babies live, folks. I don't know if you know any of them. I don't either. But the idea is that when you have a trust fund that's going to pay you a certain amount of money every month for the rest of your life, which that's what really, really rich people have, you also have to hide your money. And this is one of the ways you do it, is that you split it up over a lifetime's worth of payments, and then as you get the money, you hide a whole bunch of it into a regular IRA, and then it's tax-free, right? So again, this is sort of why the rich stay rich in this country, because there's a whole lot of laws that allow them to never pay tax on their money. So why do these make a difference, folks? Why does it matter whether you invest at the end or the beginning?
It's a percentage or something.
Well, but think about it, right? I mean, how do you earn interest? What do you have to do?
Invest in the beginning.
You have to invest and wait, right? So if you invest at the beginning, how much interest do you earn for the first period? You earn real interest. If you invest at the end, how much interest do you earn in that first period if you invested at the end of that period? None, right? That's the way ordinarily we work, right? We put the money in end of the month when we get paid, and then for that month, no, we didn't get any interest. We have to wait till next month to start getting it, okay? So that's the difference between these two, all right? Note that table 13-1 is an ordinary annuity table. So that assumes that you're investing at the end of every period, okay? You will have instances where you have to deal with investing at the beginning, and we're going to learn how those are slightly different, okay? So, the best way to learn how these things work is to just do an example, okay? So we're just going to do one, and then we'll be done. Okay? So, let's suppose that we invest, let's say we invest $4,000 for us, because we're going to do it ordinary, at the end of each year for 4 years into an annuity. There's two N's in annuity. That earns, let's be conservative and say 6% compounded annually. Note, folks, that for all intents and purposes, for every question in chapter 13, the compounding periods and the investment periods are always exactly the same. Okay? So if it says that you're compounding monthly, that means that you are also investing monthly. If it says you're compounding quarterly, that means that you're investing quarterly. Okay? So those two are never different. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Alright? So, how many periods are in this example? There's a method to why I want to do this the long way. So it shows you how the ordinary annuities and annuities do mix. Alright, so period 1, the first year. How are we going to calculate interest in every one of these periods, folks?
Basic or simple interest.
Simple, okay? The cool part about all these annuities is that everything is still simple interest if you look on a per investment period basis, alright? So, How much money is in this account at the beginning of the year? When did I invest? At the end of each year. So how much did I invest at the beginning of the first year? 0. So how much is in that for an entire year? 0. Ordinary annuities, folks. We have to work before we invest, right? Rate? 6%. Time? How much time went by in the first year? So how much interest did we earn in that first year? Nothing. This is why ordinary annuities are depressing. But it's reality. This is the way it works. Now, here's the kicker. This is how this is different than what we were doing in Chapter 12. What do we do at the end of the year? That's when we invest the $4,000. And note, folks, we're going to invest that $4,000 at the end of every year. So, don't forget, down here at the bottom, every year, we're going to invest the $4,000. And so, how we get to the next period is we take however much money we had, plus however much interest we made, plus however much we invested. So, how much do we have to start the second period?
4,000.
Yay, we finally got there. Rate and time?
6 and 1.
Those will never change, right? And the whole point of this, folks, is that if the rate or the time ever changes, you have to start the problem over. I mean,
That's another.
yeah, this is why we don't let it change normally. All right? So, how much interest do I earn in the second year? Now I've actually got some money in there, at least. $240. And then what do I do at the end of the year? Add another 4,000. So how much is in my account at the start of the third period?
8,240.
Yeah, don't forget to add all three of the components. The principal that you started with, the interest that you earned, and the investment that you added to it, right? And this is what makes annuities so much nicer than compound interest, because the numbers really grow. Because you keep putting stuff in it, right? I mean, again, this is how you invest, is that you keep putting money in it. That's the way it works. So, rate and time, same. How much interest in the third period? 494.40. What do I do at the end of the year? Yeah, add it all together. Don't forget you put another $4,000 in there, right? So what's 8240 plus 494.40 plus $4,000? 12,700. What was that?
12,734.40.
12,734.40. Rate and time stay the same. Interest? 764.06. Don't forget, what do you do at the end of that year?
That's 4,000.
Don't forget to tack on another $4,000. So what's my final future value for this account? 46 cents. So at the end of 4 years of investing $4,000 at the end of the year, earning 6% compounded annually, you'll have just a shade under $17,500. And like all questions, folks, you know what am I going to ask next?
How much interest?
Yeah, How are you going to figure out how much interest you made in this account? You could just add all the interests up. What's the easy way to do it?
4,000 times 4.
Yeah, how much did you put into that account, folks? 16,000, right? So the $4,000 we put in, but we put it in every year, right? So just realize that we're putting in more than just 4,000. So just a shade under $1,500, right? All right, so that's how an ordinary annuity works. And the cool part about it is that the only difference between this and compound annuities is when we put the money in and the fact that we put the money in every time. All right? Now, really quick. I know. Let's do the same problem doing annuity due. So now, when it's annuity due, when do I invest? In the beginning, okay? So now, instead of investing the $4,000 at the bottom, you do it at the top, right?
Oh my.
What?
Oh, I didn't know that was a K. I thought that was like 3 zeros pushed together.
Oh, that's okay.
So
So
we're good.
short for 1,000, right? All right, so technically now, folks, in period 1, how much money do I have in my account at the beginning of the year?
4,000.
Now I have the $4,000, right? Because I put it in at the start. My trust fund gave me enough money that I said, oh, I don't need this extra $4,000. I'll hide it. How much interest do I earn in that first year?
Couldn't you
140.
just give us like one more on the other one? Okay.
I mean, you're seeing though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're starting to see right away. Because what's the principal at the beginning of the next period? Well,
4,200.
you add the 4,000 to 240.
You had 4,000.
But don't forget I add the 4K, right?
Right.
So how much do I have?
That's 80, 240.
And that number should be a little bit familiar, right?
It's like the columns are over here.
Uh-huh.
It's magic.
It's saving more.
How much interest in the second period of an annuity due?
It was like 12 something, I can't remember.
494.40.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're not at the end yet.
okay, sorry.
And what's the principal at the start of the third period going to be?
12,734, 40 cents.
And where are you getting that number from?
Period 4 of the other chart.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at the other chart and see that we're basically just one period ahead in the other way. And what was that number again?
12,734, 40 cents.
40. And again, that's the whole idea, right? Is that the numbers are going to be almost exactly the same. They're just going to have this shift. And this shift is how I'm going to show you how to use the tables to do either method. That's going to be next time, though. How much interest in the third period?
764 and 6 cents.
How much is our principal?
17,498, 46.
17,498.46, which is how much we ended up with in the other problem. So what is the difference between these two? Is just the last period of interest. That's the only thing that's different, right? Rate is still 0.06, the time is still 1 year. So all we get is this extra interest. What's the interest on the fourth period for this last one?
1,049.91 cents.
And so then what's our future value?
A lot.
18,000, what is it, 547, 548,
548.
37?
Yep.
And so you see that the difference is not that much different, right? In fact, everything is almost exactly the same except for this added piece at the end. And that's why that when you use the tables, we will be able to use the tables to do either one of these problems. Note, the ordinary table, the table does this way. You just do the table exactly the way you expect it to. If you have an annuity due, then there's a massage that you have to do to make it sort of move to this new setting. All right? And that gets us started on annuities. We will crank out the rest of annuities on Tuesday next week. Please note that this means the next test, not Tuesday next week, but the Tuesday following that, over chapters 10, 12, and 13. All right?
Piece of cake.